Hi everyone. Today we're going to be doing fish, a sweet and sour kind of fish. What I've got here is I've got hake fillets here, which I'm going to cut into cubes. What you can do is you can get any fresh white firm fish that you can find. I've got some of the other ingredients that's ready here, which I'm going to show you guys in a bit. Let me just cut this fish into cubes, and I'm going to leave the skin on. And we're going to cut these into quite big chunks because we're going to fry these and coat them into flour and then make a sweet and sour sauce to go with that. You could use any white firm fish as long as it's fresh. I think that's just very important with your fish. Just need to make sure that your fish is super fresh. Okay. Right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to coat these into rice flour. You could coat it in normal flour as well. I am just trying to do a gluten-free option, so I'm going to stick to rice flour. And what's important to remember is to season the fish really well, because if your fish isn't seasoned well, then you lack that flavor. And I really believe in layering up of your spices as opposed to just spicing one layer of food. All right, so I'm just going to lay this out quickly, and I'm going to season the fish first with salt and some fish spice. I'm using Kriya fish spice. If you can't get your hands on Kriya fish spice, you're more than welcome to use any other fish spice that you can get your hands on, or simply just do salt and pepper. So I'm going to quickly wipe my hands and season this fish with salt and fish spice. All right, so I've got some salt here, some Himalayan pink salt, and I'm just going to sprinkle some salt here and go in and do some fish spice. So we're going to season this and leave this for a bit. And right, so I'm going to move this one side. What I've got on this side is some rice flour and some fish spice, and also a little bit of salt. And I'm going to give it a good mix, and we're going to toss this fish into rice flour mixture and fry this. But before we get to that, I am going to start preparing my sweet and sour sauce. Right, but with the sweet and sour sauce, it's not all sweet and sour. I am going to add a little bit of chilies as well. So we've got different dimensions going on there. Now, for the sauce, I've got some fresh lime here. I've got fresh garlic, fresh red chilies. If you can get the bigger ones, they're quite nice, because those chilies are not really hot. I couldn't get my hands, so I'm going to use a little of this, but I'm going to use some. And then I've got some jaggery here and a little bit of tamarind. Fresh sliced ginger. I'm going to cut these into julienne slices, and some spring onions. So I'm going to grab my pestle and mortar here, and in goes my chilies. So because I'm making these for the family and the boys, I don't want to make this very strong. These chilies are quite strong. I'm going to throw in some garlic, 4 cloves of garlic, and let's throw that in. All right, so lots of garlic. I love garlic. And we're gonna throw in a little bit of salt so that we can just get this thing going. And just a tiny bit of lime juice. Right, so I'm going to use sesame oil for the sauce. Right, so this is done. What I'm also going to do is I am going to julienne my ginger. So I cut them into thin slices and I am just going to simply julienne them into thinner slices, lengthwise like this. And this we're going to use to sprinkle. And I'm also going to take some of the white part from this green onions and the scallions and use this initially with my garlic and chilies and tamarind, and the green part we're going to use it for sprinkling on top. Right, so it's pretty simple from here. We fry the fish, make the sauce. The fried fish goes into the prepared sauce and it gets drizzled, and it's simple and done. And we can serve this with rice or just simply on its own. Right, so let's get started with the sauce. Okay guys, so for the sauce, I've got my non-stick pan ready here and I've got some sesame oil. I'm going to put the heat on and let the pan get hot. Right. As soon as the pan gets heated, I'm going to add this chilies and garlic that I prepped and just give it a bit of a stir. Let me just grab that spoon. So we just want the oil to get flavored with the chilies and the garlic. So as soon as that happens, I'm going to throw in my white part of my chilies. All right. So I've got the scallion part here, which I'm going to throw in. And as soon as that's done, we're going to add, as soon as that's mixed through, I'm going to add the jaggery or the palm sugar. In goes the tamarind. So I'm using store-bought tamarind, the paste. You can easily do this at home. Just get the pulp out of tamarind and strain it. I'm going to lower the heat, squeeze the juice of the lime, and then once the fish is cooked through, we're going to add the fish and the julienne ginger and spring onions, and then that's our sauce. So let's get started with the fish. So what we're going to do simply with the fish is the marinated fish that I've got ready here. I'm going to just roll it in the rice flour and keep it ready. So you can easily do all of this before the time and just fry your fish before serving and mix it into the sauce. So all we're going to do is take this fish, chunks of fish, roll it into the flour, the rice flour mixture, prep it and keep it ready. You can do this well before the time as well, and just fry it. The sauce is ready. All you need to do is just mix it into the sauce. Alright guys, so I'm going to get started with the fish. It's been sitting here for the afternoon. I went out quickly, did some stuff, came back. So I'm going to serve this with egg noodles. We're just going to do a simple stir fry noodles. I've got some water that's boiling here, and I'm just going to use some instant Chinese noodles. So I'm going to throw this into boiling water. These are quite easily available from Chinese stores. So simply just put 3 of this in, and we're going to let this boil for about 3 minutes or so. So it's soft, and then we're going to strain this, and I'm just going to do this simply with some fresh garlic, chili paste and fish sauce, and that's it, and a little bit of jaggery and salt and garlic. Alright, so I'm going to let this boil for about 3 minutes or so and strain this. Alright guys, so this has been about 3 minutes now. I'm just going to drain this into a bowl, and I'm just going to use the same pan to stir fry my noodles quickly. Just want to get rid of this water, and then we're going to get alright, so I'm just going to quickly drain this up here. But I'm going to add a little bit of sesame oil to my pan, and this is just a simple fried noodles. I'm not adding any veggies to this because frankly speaking I don't have any. So we're just going to wait for the pan to get dry. Add a little bit of sesame oil. Okay. A little bit of fresh garlic. Fresh chili paste. Jaggery or palm. This is just water. Just to make sure that the palm sugar doesn't burn. And palm sugar is really big in Asia when they cook their dishes. I find they really tend to add a lot because it seems to enhance all the flavors and the spices and bring everything out. So just a little bit more of the water. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw my boiled noodles in. A good dash of the fish sauce. Give this a good mix. And some more. And we're going to taste for sauce, because the fish sauce is a bit salty on its own. Perfect. So I'm going to keep this one side, and just before I serve this, I'm going to warm it just slightly again. So then I'm going to add my spring onions then. Putting my oil on to fry the fish. So let's move this aside. The sauce is ready for the fish. So basically it's just to fry the fish quickly and add it to the heated sauce that we prepared earlier and give it one toss and we should be done. So just before frying the fish, I am simply going to just coat my fish again in the rice flour mixture and fry it. Alright, so oil is nice and hot. I just want to see. Okay, let's give it another minute or so. And then I'm going to start adding these fish cubes in my oil. And obviously try not to overcrowd the pan, because that's what brings the temperature down. And I don't want to bring the temperature down. I just want to cook this. This fish shouldn't take very long. These are quite thin pieces of fish, so it should go by quite quickly. Alright guys, so the oil is nice and hot. I'm going to pop these fillets, these cubes in, and I'm just literally coating them in flour quickly, in the rice flour, before I throw them in the hot oil. I don't want to overcrowd the pan, because obviously when you overcrowd the pan, then the temperature is going to come down and you're going to end up having fish that is soggy and full of oil. Right, so just a quick fry on this. I have put my pan on, heat on the pan with the sauce. It's on really low heat, and I just want to bring it to heat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drain this fish and pop them in the... So the important thing here to remember is to make sure that your fish is really seasoned well, and the flour is also seasoned well. If your fish isn't seasoned well and the flour is seasoned well, then obviously it's not going to work, and vice versa as well. So really important to remember to season both your fish and your spice quite well. Alright, so I'm just going to do the remainder of these cubes quickly, and try not to obviously overcook this, because the last thing we want is overcooked fish. So these will go by pretty quickly now. Alright, so now that the fish is all fried and it's crispy, what happened there, Anas?
Nothing.
Did you just break my coffee machine?
No.
I think you did. Alright guys, hello Umar. How are you? Umar.
Good going.
Okay guys, let's get started. Okay, so the sauce is nice and hot now. I am going to add the crispy fish here. We're going to give it a toss, sprinkle it with some julienne ginger and some coriander. Okay guys, so the fish is fried, the sauce is heated through. I'm just going to add my crispy fish in here, give it a toss, and I'm also going to just heat my noodles through. Let's get this out of the way. We're going to sprinkle it with some ginger, thinly sliced julienne ginger, and loads of spring onion. And then on this side, I am simply going to heat my noodles through and empty this out. Anas, do you want to bring the camera here so they can see what this fish looks like?
Okay. Sorry guys.
Alright, so this is what the fish looks like. Right, so I'm just going to empty this for serving. And let's get this here. I wish I was taller at the best of times. Alright. That is sweet and sour crispy fish.
Ooh, with noodles.
And with, crispy fried noodles. Crispy and egg fried noodles. Let's grab all of the sauce from here. Don't want to miss all this goodness. There we go. And then just like that, simply with the noodles as well, we're just going to sprinkle some coriander and give it a toss. And I'm going to empty it out as well. And there you have it. Simple and quick. And prepare ahead fried noodles and crispy fish with hints of ginger and sweet and sour sauce. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and click on notification.
So you never miss a video.
So you never miss a video.